True or false that Bill Belichick had a security team following you around to keep an eye on you in New England?
Well,
week by week, you were just going in there like, yo, I'm just going to fucking dominate whoever's across from me at corner?
Man, I felt like how Wembenyama's playing right now. You see how he's playing? It's shooting into the ocean. It's peaceful as hell, man. You know, you'll get there eventually, but it's in the doing. Like, you really got to commit. You know, I was done by the time I kind of figured it out. That's what it took me 5 times to go to rehab.
There was a really off-the-map place in, like, South America that you could change your location to where the NFL couldn't get to with their drug testers. 20% of the guys in the league in the offseason would do their offseason training down here. Yeah. Hit the money sign in Buffalo. Yeah. I'm like, okay, shit, yeah, maybe we can do this.
Yeah.
We didn't end up doing it for the... Welcome to Glory Daze with Johnny Manziel. We are presented by Prize Picks. The guy sitting across from me, one of my favorite teammates of all time, Super Bowl champ, an All-Pro, and one of the greatest seasons ever at wide receiver in 2013. Quiet. You don't hear from him much, but one of the best. Flash Gordon himself. Josh.
What's up, brother? What's good with you, my guy? It's been a minute.
It's been a minute. There's still a lot of times where I'm on X or I'm turn on a NFL channel on a Sunday or something, and you'll still see highlights from the 2013 run that you had, or, you know, I still talk to people about you all the time in the streets. And you've got like almost a cult hero status that you've achieved with like NFL fans. You know, what is your take on that a little bit and what it feels like to be loved by so many and also have, you know, the stigma around you that was like, yo, that guy legitimately could have been one of the best to ever do it?
I think that's kind of the most humbling part of it, bro. I think that's kind of what I was probably best, I think, meant to be used as, maybe as more like than a great career, more like a beacon of hope or a good example for what's to come next. I know a lot of people look up to me excuse me, and stuff like that. I'm trying not to curse too much. But from college, man, I'm like T. Higgins, like all these young receivers I'm talked to, trying to make sure they get their money, get in and get out. You know, much like the big homies like Beast Mode, Marshawn would talk to me. He would tell me the same thing, like just calm down, focus, whatever. So if anything, yeah, I mean, I feel as though it's an honor. But before, it damn sure was like a burden. But if I reframed it, you know, and kind of took it on as a badge of, you know, to be worn and looked at as a positive light, something to be an example for the youth, my kids, right? And not see him as this terrible or this guy.
How much longer can you beat yourself up about it?
I'm good, right? I'm straight, mentally, healthily, spiritually, man. I'm blessed today to have gone through that shit. But the fans, they blow my mind just be how positive they've been and how they still are. Like you said, I still can't believe it. My brothers got to remind me all the time, like, man, you still got to remember who you are. Like, man, I'm retired. I'm a civilian now. It's like, fuck. Nah, they still notice your tall, lanky ass walk through the door.
For sure.
So I forget sometimes, bro.
You know, as we go back in time, right, and you put yourself, you know, in the 2013 season, you know, you go back, you missed 2 games, still lead the league in receiving yards. You know, your first NFL receiver to record back-to-back 200-yard receiving games, 9 touchdowns. What did that feel like in the moment? And what made you, you know, to the point where you were so dominant that year and throughout that stretch?
I knew, like, it was like with that amount of time, I could do a whole lot more work than most of these guys do in like half a season. I was out to prove it. Basically, I was like, he's trash. Like, that's basically how I felt, and that's how I played.
That's one thing too about you. So that's one thing about you too. You were never not a hard worker.
You wore it on my
you worked your ass
big
off.
Big chip on it.
You worked your ass off.
Real petty.
You worked your ass off all the time.
Especially in the gym, right? If we were going to do some weights or some real work, hell yeah.
You know, team wasn't great, but for you to go on that run and like on that stretch, it's still like legendary to this day. If you still tell people, yo, I went for 1,400 yards in 14 games, and like people, it's crazy to see the numbers and how it went. Week by week, you were just going in there like, yo, I'm just gonna fucking dominate whoever's across from me at corner.
I mean, man, that was pretty much, I knew they couldn't stop me. I knew pretty much I had broken down enough film like, and watch every move, whether it's his left foot indicator, his left arm, right arm jam, and how to do a press release at this size. Like, that's all they want to do is slow you down. So if they couldn't touch me at the line, I was like, well, there's no way, he's going to be able to run with me. So they usually have to play off some distance. And if that's the case, I'm going to run the slant all game. So that's pretty much that's how it was. I had a good off season. I trained really hard, and man, I felt like how Wembanyama's playing right now. You see how he's playing? It's shooting into the ocean. That's how I felt, bro.
Felt like you're out there playing against kids.
It did feel that way. It did feel that way for a while. So I got disinterested, with the game. I was like, all right, well, are you gonna suspend me again? I was like, we could make some more. We could make some more money in the NFL. Let's get some more viewers. Now, are you gonna, the Browns need some help. We really could do it, but shit, pass that drug test first, and then you're not gonna teach us a lesson. We're gonna teach you a lesson. So,
did you get to a point throughout that season, after that season, where you were talking to the Browns about a new contract or about anything like that? Did it ever even get to that point?
It got close. We were negotiating a little bit, and I got traded to New England, and that was it.
In 2013 against the Jags, I loved this game. And, you probably haven't seen this highlight in a while, probably haven't looked at it, but we got it on the iPad over here. And just, for us and people who, watch the show, talk to me a little bit about, you spoke on it a little bit, but what comes to mind as you're watching this game and as you're seeing this?
Man, honestly, it was cold as shit. I couldn't feel my toes. I was trying to get back home, like leave no stone unturned. I was in shape to do it. I was like, let's see if they can stop me. Like, don't take me out the game. Every play. I want the ball every play. That was it. Like AB was crazy. Like AB didn't come out the game. Right. To be a real number one, you don't come out the fucking game. So, and in the cold, we know a lot of these teams would be soft as shit, right? They're not fucking, they're soft. Most of them are really soft. They're playing in domes and shit or whatever. That's why Buffalo's been whooping up on Kansas City, but it gets cold in Kansas City too. But, bro, you just really got to be a dog, really. You really got to get angry. You got to get violent. Even as from an offensive perspective, you got to snatch the ball. Don't wait to catch the ball. Like, take the fucking ball. You know what I mean? Like, he's waiting to tackle you. You fucking tackle his ass first. But I don't know. I couldn't run routes either, bro. I couldn't run routes that well, but it was a simple playbook. So,
had to be one of your favorite years you ever played football.
No doubt. I mean, I don't think I could ask for a better. I mean, I could. I really want to. I would want more, honestly, but individually, I don't think I can ask for more than what I got out of that season.
The league is a different place as far as the rules on smoking now. Oh, yeah. What the program looks like now, what Dr. Brown's office and what they go through now is a lot different than what it was whenever, we were in the league. Obviously, you got to follow the rules. You got to do what you have to do to try and get on the field and make yourself available. Something that was extremely hard for both of us. You, for sure, have spent more time with Dr. Brown than anybody that has ever gone through the NFL.
Played in the league, bro, no doubt. It's documented. I'm a case study, I guess, in some book. I don't even know the name of the book, but bro, I've taken more drug tests than everybody times 100.
When you fail a drug test in the NFL, they put you in the program pretty much where they just like test you more, but they give you one more opportunity for the most part, right? And I'll never forget mine. Shout out to Dwayne Bowe, 2015 in Cleveland. On my birthday, we went out, and he mixed up some lean, a couple cups of lean. And of course, I didn't think they would test me the day after my birthday. I come in like December 7th, yada, yada, fail my second, test for promethazine. It's hilarious to even think about. But after that, it gets really, really strict. And that's when change in location comes into your life.
God.
And there's a contract, and anybody who's We're still both a little traumatized about this,
Every
but
time that phone rings,
changing location is pretty much a contact you put in your phone, and you call a number, and let's say the season ends for the Browns. That's always after week 16. Sorry, Cleveland. It's just true. So, you start planning your off season where you're going to go train. For me, I was coming back to Texas to see my family. So, I remember having like a 6 a.m. flight the day after exit meetings, and woke up late, get in my seat, pass out, wake up in Dallas, and my phone's ringing like crazy, changing location. And I just remember at that moment, I was like, shit, I didn't call this morning. I didn't call and let them know. And you have to call before you leave. For example, on this trip, it would be like call 8, 9 p.m. the night before. You tell them, hey, I'm on American Airlines flight 791, leaving Cleveland at 6 a.m., landing in Dallas at 8:30, and I will be going from the airport to this address wherever in Tyler, Texas, and I will be there for this many days. And if you decide, hey, I want to go to Dallas for, a night,
right,
during that period, you have to call the number, let them know what hotel you're at, time you're going to be there. And it's pretty much, wherever you are at all times, no matter what, you have to call this number and let them know where you're going to be at. And they're going to pull up on you. It's some
probation.
They're going to pull up on you. And there is a guy that was in the NFL, a very good player, and he was in the program. We won't name names. I love you. You know who you are. There was a really off the map place in like South America that you could change your location to where the NFL couldn't get to with their drug testers. So probably, 20% of the guys in the league in the offseason would do their offseason training down here. That is until you pull up at a sporting event in the United States while you're supposed to be somewhere else out of the country. So after that, it got a lot more strict, but this is pretty much what the NFL drug testing program looks like. And, at the point of time in my life, I didn't have a chance in hell of getting around that and just following the rules. You really
not a chance, bro. I mean, not nobody's ever really tell you that. I mean, because the amount of access and resource we have as like young 20, 21-year-olds, whatever the age may be, the lifestyle and the structure involved. It doesn't go hand in hand. Like even the regular football, we're coming back at 4. The football season, we're coming back at 4 or 5 in the morning. We're waiting for a drug tester even during the season. Excuse me, my bad. During the season to come test you. So on a plane, wherever. So
I think
it's.
I think you look at it and I have a lot of respect for the guys, for the Jordan Poyers, for the Darren Wallers, for the Max Crosbys. For the guys who, their reasoning for doing it is to get you to change your life, right? Yeah, to get you to see a cleaner side of life, to get your life together and really and honestly, truly get you sober. For some people, that's easier. It's always going to be a struggle from a person who loves the side of the party and of the drug and alcohol use. Like it's always going to, be tough. But, I have so much respect for the guys who have done it and have, got their life together in that way and were able to continue to go on and get new contracts and be able to get on the field and be available because, it's tough. And me and you were guys who struggle with it a little bit more than most. You look at it now and in the studies of what, marijuana does for the recovery of your body, for your mind, for your ability to be able to relax with so much stress going on and stuff. And, luckily the NFL has changed their stance on it a little bit, but we were definitely involved in a time where, it was strict as it could have ever possibly been.
It was just the times, man. I was talking to Ricky Williams a little while ago. He had it even worse, man. These older guys had it even, yeah. So Yeah, crossing over like at that bridge of mental health, that like kind of that awaken period of how trying to figure that map that out for professionals, not only athletes, but how do people go to work, with not knowing they're undiagnosed and might have some episode and then need some medication, whatever the case may be, and a simple fix, but you'd have to walk through it, or
Do
have
you
a
think
lot
they
of
helped you?
support.
Do you think they helped you with that? As far as like finding some things on the mental health side of where it like shifted from the, you have your drug and alcohol part of the program, but you also have a side of where they get you to people to speak to, and you can really take a look at, you may as well, if you're going into these situations, at least for me, I was very honest about it. I was very honest about what I struggled with, what was going on in my brain and what it was to be able to try and, learn more about myself, because it's coming into the league at 21, 22 years old. You don't know shit about yourself or how your brain works or anything like that.
Because that's the big difference for me. That's what it took me 5 times to go to rehab, to get like, I was telling the truth, like in pieces and saying, all right, I'm gonna just do this. That's what they want me to do. Jump through some hoops for 30, 60 days, come back, all they care about is fucking football anyway. So that's what I'm thinking, right? So they're like, no, we actually want you to be a better person, right? And making some money on the side, So, as we take money from you for failing these drug tests. So I was conflicted, right? Like, is it good for me, or is it like, is it punitive, or is it healthy for me? Because I keep running through the same old rut. But eventually, I had to kind of like get past it and say, the hell with how it looks on the outside. Like, all right, well, we're here now. I'm gonna take advantage of it. Give me all your books on psychology, cognitive behavioral therapy, dialectal behavioral therapy, and just nerd out on all these weird, philosophers,
things that didn't make any
and
sense
deep
to
dive
you,
into
but
metaphysics, and you're in religion, and yeah, bro, yeah, you'll be smudging, and yeah, it's it's peaceful as hell, man. You'll get there eventually, but it's in the doing. Like, you really got to commit and just say, all right, well, I'm gonna master this too, just same like you did football, and then. But by the time I was done by the time I kind of figured it out. So
yeah. 2014 season's coming around. Speak just a little bit about, I guess, your first impressions of me coming in the building, what that season was going to be, and kind of where you were at.
Man, I told Pat, man, they asked me who I wanted to draft, man, because of that season I had the year before. They were like, well, we assume, you would want to be a part of the quarterback process. I was like, yeah, you goddamn right. I'm picking Manziel. All right, and let's just do it. And shit, thankfully they draft you not early enough, like I told them to, but man,
I appreciate that.
Man, I
would
was
switch
pissed because they
salaries
got
with
Justin
in a
Gilbert,
heartbeat.
right? I was like, what the right? And then we couldn't handle. It was almost my fault. You should have went to a better team. I was being selfish, bro. You should kick my ass for that. So, nah, man, it's important to get drafted to the right team. So I mean, they wanted to win bad. They wanted the promo. Cleveland was hungry, like, to be able to turn that city around, man.
Exciting times in the city too.
Yes,
We
it
had
was a
Bron,
great
we had
time.
Bron coming
Right.
back. We're both living downtown. This is a point in time where we really got to know each other and spend a lot of time together. I think, I was a person that didn't want to shy away from being friends with you just because you were suspended, right? You would come over and have dinner with me and Gareth, and we'd spend time together throughout that season, whether we would go to the shoe or we would go to a game or like whatever it was, and it took us 13 weeks to ever really play with each other. Shanahan was, I speak really, really highly of. I think you do as well.
Love Kyle. Yeah.
Love Kyle. Mike McDaniels is in the room.
Yeah,
Really good offensive coaching staff there for us that,
that playbook.
We were 7-4. We were 7-4 that
playbook's
season.
Perfect. Yeah.
Week 13, Buffalo. We go to Buffalo. You had just come back. I get brought in the fourth quarter as we're down like 17 points or something. And we run what do we call that? Like, not a drag, but like the fucking...
The shallow?
No, the three-step, like our fucking play action like, three-step drop where it was like the quick dig, like 10, 12-yard dig where you hit
like
your third
a pop
outside
7, like a bang 8.
Yeah, it was pretty much a rolled in bang 8.
It was like a rolled bang 8, yeah. Like
but we drive down the field, my first drive, my first play that I ever called in an NFL game like that, I faked it to the right side, and all the receivers rolled to the right side. So I called the play completely backwards. Ended up throwing it away. Shanahan's screaming at me in the fucking headset. You got to fucking pay attention. You got to pay attention. Like, settle the fuck down. I'm like, dude, I'm freaking out, man. I'm freaking out. So he does the same rollout again. Throw it in the flat. He gets destroyed on the sideline in Buffalo. But we drive down 80 yards, run it in for a TD, hit the money sign in Buffalo. I'm like, okay, shit, yeah, maybe we can do this. We didn't end up doing that for the
You got to taste it. Welcome to the show.
For the rest of the game. I remember Kyle Williams, big ass number 95 that played D tackle for the Bills late in that game. Like, I throw a pick, he knocks me on my ass, and there's just a picture of me that you'll have to see on this clip where I'm just like laying on the field like this, just like completely flat, legs out, just dead, just like this is the fucking worst. We just get steamrolled in Buffalo by Fitzmagic and the boys, and it's just like, all right, fine. You know, we play Atlanta the next week. Frustrating ass game. Hoyer was throwing jump balls.
Let's say it was B. Hoyer, was that Brian?
Left and right. And then we start together, our first start at home against Cincinnati. And I think we all know how that went. Tough day at the office.
I can't remember all of it.
I do.
What happened?
I do. We were trying to get this thing rolling, and he called like a dagger, and you break out of it, and you're wide open, and I like hitch up into it twice. And it was just like one of those things where like Cleveland made me so unconfident in myself to just like normally in the past I step up and just rip that ball and don't think twice about it, and like I'm double hitching into it, don't want to let it go, and it's just like one of those ones that flutters and you like put a hand up and knock it by, and it's just like we can't get anything going. Jeremy Hill and Giovanni Bernard or whatever just running it down our throat, play action, Andy Dalton to AJ Green, and we get beat 30-0 at home. We get beat 30-0
Damn,
we don't score a
we
point.
Should get destroyed. The AFC North, fuck. Yeah.
That
was a long time ago.
It was.
That was a long time ago.
Next week we go to Carolina. We play Cam
Newton and Christian McCaffrey.
And I don't think McCaffrey was there yet, but it was still Cam's year. McCaffrey comes in a couple years later, and I tear my hamstring in the first quarter. And
Tolbert.
Hoyer comes in. It's the end of my season. It's I think it's the last game we ever play together.
I think so.
It's the last one. It was a lot of dysfunction in the building. I speak about it a lot. You know, it's been beaten like a dead horse for the most part, but so bad where, you know, Kyle Shanahan and Mike McDaniels had more years on their contract after that season, and they got the fuck out of there as quick as possible. You know, whole new offensive staff for us the next year. Tough. You know, you had a head coach and a GM and a front office who couldn't mesh, you know, who couldn't get along from a personnel standpoint, from anything. And, you know, I always talk about the ringing the bell and the ticket sales that would go on as you were going to a coach's office, and you would walk by or get out of a meeting upstairs, and you would just hear the bell ring about them selling season tickets. And there never was there ever a place in the NFL where people who sell your tickets and sell your concession stand sponsorships are mixed in with the people who are trying to dial up a fire zone blitz on a fucking Saturday or Sunday against the Steelers.
You would think they would care.
What the fuck are we talking about here, bro?
Yeah.
Who does that?
Just give me a text. Right?
Who does that? Like, separate them. Go put them in an office building downtown and let them sell tickets. Let the football people in the football building have their space and have their freedom. That's just one of the like many, many things.
Oh no, yeah, they're figuring it out. What they want, I
guess.
That's why I don't watch as much anymore.
If you're 21 or older and looking for pure, potent, reliable cannabis, it's time to check out 3chi.com. Easy, fast, reliable. 3Chi's online shop has everything you need. Level up your cannabis experience. Since 2018, 3Chi has been America's go-to cannabis brand, building the strongest, cleanest THC products with science and safety at the core. Whether it's gummies and drinks, vapes formulated by expert biochemists, or flour and pre-rolls grown by the industry's best farms. Everything here is double tested for potency you can feel and safety you can trust. Finding your vibe is simple. 3Chi dials in effect so you can feel exactly the way you want, when you want. Relax after a long day, lock into focus, lighten up to socialize, ease into sleep, find relief when you need it most, or take a quick trip to outer space. However you want to feel, 3Chi's got you covered. So head to 3chi.com and take the product quiz to find your perfect fit. That's number 3, CHI.com. And use code Johnny for 30% off store-wide. It's not available in all states, 21 plus only, and consume responsibly. Never drive high. After that 2014 season, 2015, 16, 17 are tough in Cleveland. You finally, you get out of there and you get to New England.
Yeah.
You team up with Tom Brady. You're in a completely different organization. You're in a completely different franchise. What were those first interactions like coming into a new building like that and getting with a guy like Brady who's like, listen, I've seen your talent. I've watched it on film. I've seen what you do good. I've seen where you need help in certain areas. What was it like to be around that and, have that season?
That was the most validating part of my career. That was what you just said, more than the money, anything else. I got like the biggest check on my checklist. Number one was validation, from somebody at least on that tier of elite. And, he just happened to be my favorite quarterback and my locker mate, and shit, they had a saying, real football doesn't start till November, boys. Like, it's early. You've never seen football at this level, right? It's like going to Bama or beating Bama. You know what the A&M's like. It's a perfectionist craft. Like even Tom on hosting and the TV analyst, he's still trying to perfect it. You can't flip it off, man. So, Edelman, all the boys, Dante Hightower, down to the cleaning crew, the field staff, the crafts. We're in there every day.
Felt like you were playing real football again,
right? Felt like this is what the NFL was supposed to be like. Yeah,
I'm sure the first time you walk into Belichick's office, you have to be. I've seen you deal with some anxiety, obviously deal with a little bit of stress. Like you're walking into that first meeting and not really knowing what's going on had to be like a high anxiety, high stress situation for the most part.
I'm thinking you're trying to do an impersonation of Bill. You're just like, so Josh, you got a bunch of anxiety and stress. We heard you with the rehab time. He's like, yeah, all right, look, can you? This is a 20-year playbook. Okay, can you understand at least this amount by Friday? We're going to need you to start on Sunday. All right, fuck. Come on. All right, bet. So let's see if you got it mentally really to try to, do a lot with. And then actually I think I came in with a pulled hamstring. So I was playing the Dolphins I got in the game starting against the Dolphins with a pulled hamstring. And, I think I went for 90 or something like that. And we just got better from there. But they gave me a chance, and I took it, man. And they, we reciprocated the hard work, and they made me earn every bit of it. But it's a lot of respect out in Foxborough, like in New England, Boston. Everybody, every Patriots fan, shout out to Patriot fan club. Yeah, go Pats. Yeah, let's fucking go. Hashtag LFG, but. Fuck yeah. Yeah, I'm appreciative for that shit.
True or false that Bill Belichick had a security team following you around to keep an eye on you in New England?
It's a true story. It's a true fucking no. I don't think it was Bill. I think actually Bill was but even, everybody was kind of scared of Bill, so they would overdo it and micromanage any situation. But there was a couple guys that knew my whereabouts always, bro. So even in the shower, I won't say any names, but yeah, but you'd hear a knock on the door. Oh shit, and it's fucking crazy shit, man. But they were protecting their assets, and at least they're willing to go to that link to make sure you showed up to work. So I don't blame them.
You resurrected your career there in 2018. 11 games, 700 plus yards, 3 touchdowns. You spoke on it a little bit with the guys, but, something within yourself had to come back out and feel like, this is the younger version of Josh again, to where you're having fun and you're able to find success again, like on the field.
Yeah, no doubt. I thought it was going to be over. The first stint in Cleveland was 7 years. It did feel like a rebirth, really, like it wasn't real. Like it really wasn't real. That's kind of how it felt. Like I was like, man, we can't stop winning. This is the easiest football's ever been, But having Gronkowski damn sure helps. Having the number one defense damn sure helps, But it was an eye opening experience, like top to bottom. But just to be a part of it after that, it did feel like a rebirth. And then it did kind of extend from there. I ended up staying in Seattle for 2 years and getting to meet Russell. And Russell, would always, he even called me to want to go. He's like, hey, man, see if I can get you in with the Pittsburgh Steelers when I was already done out of Tennessee. So the relationships with the quarterbacks, like, they're going to bring you in. I mean, my boy Patty Mahomes called me to come down to Kansas City. I love Coach Reid. We work with Coach Reid and Coach Eric Bieniemy. We know the plays. We know Kingsbury. We know the offense for Texas Tech boys in that same offense, and what some quarterbacks are used to. So yeah, we know what those guys that win championships. We know what they want. We know what it looks like. And if you know, you know. Then after Kansas City, well, I ended up in Tennessee. Went to Nashville. And I was I was on Broadway. I was on Broadway a little bit.
It'll entice you for sure. It's so close to the stadium.
I was right there. It's such a small city. I almost never left, bro.
To go back to the New England thing a little bit, this is a moment probably a lot of people didn't understand, right? And one you probably got a lot of shit for. But, you guys are 9-5. The playoffs are like looming at the time. And like you decide to walk away from the team to like focus on your mental health.
Yeah.
Right? Like something had to be inside you and in your head to where you're like, no matter how good things are going from a football perspective, from a life and a Josh Gordon perspective, you couldn't have felt happy in certain points, in certain ways.
That's what I come to find out. I mean, everything I thought I wanted it. And it came true. Obviously, a lot of people say these cliche things, but will it really fill you up? Will it make you happy? Yeah, it does periodically,
temporarily.
Right? Yeah, temporarily for sure. Once you get that clarity, if you will, things start to slow down and get in a better perspective for yourself, and you get more self-aware. Once the lights are gone, the camera's off you. There's no more girlfriend coming around no more, right? The family's over here. You're out of state. You don't know anybody. But, so what are you going to do? You're going to quit or you're going to keep on trying? You fucked up again. So you know how long that takes? Like, all right, I'll go do another year and come back. To do a year not doing what everybody else here does, basically, I don't know if, try taking a couple of years off coming back. It's tough to have that energy to do it and do it and do it. So,
when you leave that year and you walk away and you go take care of your mental health, what are you working on during that point? Just trying to find yourself again a little bit?
I was in search of something, man, but it wasn't football. It wasn't the lifestyle. It was like more comfortability with myself and my own skin. And it took me, I'm still trying to figure that out, but I at least know that much to say I could, power through the rest of it. But when you're kind of blind and distracted with this structured life that you can't really mimic anywhere else but that like regimented football bubble world or like a militaristic up 3 a.m., 4 a.m., and then still partying through it. Sometimes you don't sleep and go to practice, right? Or play a game. Type of thing, and nobody knows because you broke a record.
Yeah, you hide a lot of things.
You know how to hide it. Yeah, you know how to hide it, right? Of course. But you get caught. I can't hide from.
You can't hide from yourself either.
You get caught.
You can't hide from yourself.
You can't hide from a drug test, man.
You can't hide from that. You can't hide from yourself.
No, you cannot, bro. You damn sure can't. And I mean, maybe you don't know this. Like not being able to look in that mirror for a couple. You've gone days. Like, I haven't fucking seen myself.
You can't.
Shit, I grew a beard. Shit, you know what I mean? What? Come on now, it gets deeper.
I do. I lived it.
No, bro, lived that shit. So I had to get to the point to be away from everything. And the NFL did give me that opportunity. I talk a lot of shit. I'm always trolling, always making jokes. But I'm grateful for Roger Goodell and everybody up there, at Park Avenue for giving me so many opportunities to get my act together as a young man, as an older man, and even still now. You still got the trust. I'm still a vetted member of our union, the NFLPA. They do real good work in the community. Just paying it forward now is the focus, man. But
If you had an issue right now to where you felt like you needed something in your life to better the life of Josh Gordon, to better the life of yourself and what you needed in that continued search of who you are, who you want to be, you feel like you could reach out to the NFL, to the NFLPA, and they would help you?
the fact that I know that they're there, I'd resist to ask them. Really, not because I'm worried about asking them. It's just because, well, I've gotten enough to go on. Let me just see where I can go on my own before I really run into a wall. I'm like, all right, well, now I might need to find venture capitalists or some type of shit. But whatever journey life really takes me on, or coaching, I know how to get into coaching. I'm not ready for that yet. But yeah, man, hell yeah, I leave those doors open, and luckily I didn't burn too many of those bridges that I thought I really burned, man, because I was still have been an asshole, man, for a long time.
Not to mention the quarterbacks you played with that you talked about a little bit, the Bradys, the Mahomes, Russell, and then you get the coaches, right? I know a coach for me, you got Pete Carroll, you got Andy Reid, you got Belichick. I know for you, being what you've been through in life, Andy Reid had to be a guy who really related to you because of things that happened with his son. And he was that way with me, and I never even got the opportunity to play for him. But, what made their approach towards the game and like towards you, similar, or different, or helpful, or what do you appreciate from being around those guys who are such legends of the game?
Yeah, for one, it was humbling being around Big Red, cause just watching him growing up in Philly. I always seen him in that green, but and Brad Childress too. They know all the same coaches, man. But he was he's one of the nicest coaches I've ever had. He's so soft spoken. You almost barely hear Andy talk, but you don't want to take advantage of his niceness and. Because he knows how to perk up and get after you. But he's like him, Brett Veach, that whole front office in Kansas City really looked out for me, gave me opportunity. Even when I left to Tennessee, they wanted me to come back. I probably should have stayed. Like Andy really opened his doors because of the situation with his son and all of that. He mentioned it to me, and with the shame, the guilt of it. A lot of coaches have bonded, made bonds over that because of my story and their kids and, things we're trying to, preemptive measures we're all trying to take to kind of be a family together and kind of learn and grow through this together. So Andy Reid is always a legend in my book and not for the football part, man. But again, like Coach Carroll and his son Nate Carroll, I've known a couple of these guys via other coaches from previous regimes, man. But to be able to take a back seat to DK Metcalf, every day or every week because he's the guy. He's got to go. I got to make sure DK can do his thing. And Russell may want me to play, but and then whoever Schottenheimer, Coach Schotty, just didn't trust me enough at the time. So it's all circumstantial, but I don't have anything bad to say about any coach that I had outside of Cleveland. No, right?
You got no gripe from me, bro.
It was getting too stuffy. But
You got no gripe from me, brother.
No, man, those coaches are legendary, man, and I can't believe I got the chance to really play with them. Watching Coach Carroll at USC, right? It was. But he is the coolest coach. Coach Carroll, he's the coolest coach by far I probably had.
Talk to me about what life's been looking like for Josh Gordon, since the NFL's been gone, and I guess really what you're up to these days.
Man, you said it. I mean, bro, the trying to acclimate to like the retired life, post-football life, that's what we're both going through now. Obviously, you figured out a lot more than I have, but that golf course is a good stop-off point for me, man, but I'm trying to figure it out myself, and shit, I really, whatever happens, but it's a tough adjustment into early retirement or whatever this is. Feels like hiatus. You're not done working really ever.
For two guys that have struggled as much as we have, from a mental health aspect, from a drug and alcohol aspect, I mean, for me, getting outside and being on a course, and I can tell you for sure sitting in my condo in 2014 in Cleveland, we weren't talking about picking up golf clubs and being on the golf course.
It's not the concern, right? Exactly. Looking back, it's crazy, bro. But you'd have to go through that shit. You know what I mean? You'd have to fucking really burn through some shit to kind of find the peace and through like just going outside. I mean, shit, I still suck at golf, right? But just fucking having something to do, being outside in the sun. I mean, like you hear a bunch of old timers telling you the same thing. You know, this, you know, hitting from the front tees and, you know, on their second divorce type shit. You know, living that retirement life, and they're just happy to be outside. So I'm soaking up game and, you know, just acting like I'm good at golf in the meantime, bro. That's about it.
I mean, that was the biggest thing for me. Like I came from, you know, a world where I would be super depressed and wouldn't leave a room, or I'd be playing video games all day or never leave the couch or do something like that. And just when I got to Scottsdale, to be able just to go outside and play 5 days a week, I wake up at, 9 o'clock, grab breakfast at the course by 10:30. I'm there till 4. Like, something about being in the sun, being outside, being in nature for me, I'm sure you feel it the same way. And being around different guys, being around people you normally wouldn't associate yourself with. And, it's crazy what it does, for your mental health, for your, just like the way you feel about life and the way you feel about yourself.
No doubt. I mean, you just said it, bro. Getting out that comfort zone, outside the depression, like deep depression, like you're not moving from the bed for days. Like, you're fucking walking around the house with the blanket on and shit, whatever the case may be, to try to, like, I'm desperately gonna take a leap of faith and say, fuck it, I'm gonna get back right and just stumble through it. And everybody else is like, I mean, I'm hoping to find some, some honest people along the way, and I have, man. And we definitely, have found the right people, but we still stumble through it. But man, trying to figure that process out and get outside that need to be safe all the time. Yeah, that's really, I think, where the truth is for me. Really,
I mean, something you said that I really felt, when we got to LA, February, March 2016, whatever it was, and I was cut from the Browns, and I would turn on SportsCenter every day and see a story about myself or this and that. People never really understood that I felt a weight off my shoulders. I felt liberated to not have to be in Cleveland dealing with that bullshit anymore and having to be dealing with football or worried about training or anything. And, you said you felt liberated when you retired from the NFL. Yeah. So I guess just kind of in your words, what did you mean by that? What did you feel by that when football was finally away?
Man, I said better, like, cause I'd be lying, but it was my therapist when I was in one of my stints in rehab, dude. It was, he was telling me, I can't remember, Dr. Smolin and a few other doctors. I think he passed away, but there's nothing more friend than a bad reputation. You know what I mean? You could only go up from there type of shit. You know what I mean? So we ran through the muck publicly on every TMZ outlet and media, platform, ESPN. After a while you get numb to it and be like, well, okay, the joke's a joke, right? But now what do? I mean, you try to build back a new image of yourself. Maybe you lean into it, become the anti-hero, be what they want you to be. That doesn't work out. You exhaust yourself that way, leaning into whatever the stigma is or whatever truth they want, whatever the picture is. But sometimes you play into it and sometimes you get played by it. I got played by it, but I think, at the same time, I learned from it, and then I'm not making any excuses. I'm not trying to bitch about it. I mean, that's just the game. That's just, you just gotta know the rules.
I think, me and you in a similar way. You sit there for years, whenever you're out, and you think about what could have been, what should have been. I don't think we even realize at times. I'm starting to see it more now because I am getting more involved in the college aspect of sports. I am talking with guys weekly like Marcel Reed, like Diego Pavia. Like, I always tell any guy that reaches out to me or follows me on Instagram or X or anything like that to, here's my number, hit my line if you ever need anything. If you're in a tough spot or something, or you need somebody at 3, 4, 5, 6 in the morning, doesn't really matter. Like, pick up the phone and call me, and I'll do whatever I can to try and, help you out within reason. I think, as you take a different look and a different approach to what our careers were, what our lives are, maybe it wasn't for me meant to be a 12, 15-year career in Pro Bowls and Super Bowls and shit like that. Maybe my story is one of, a cautionary tale, that the things that I've been through are to help other people and for people to learn from. And, I'm still like trying to navigate and figure out exactly what that looks like. But, it does, Marcel's not as much of a party guy as Diego is, but Diego likes to rip it, and we have a lot of talks. We had one at Kiki on the River on Sunday.
What you doing at Kiki?
Times are different where you go and beat Auburn on Saturday, and on Sunday morning you land on a jet and go to the one hotel, and you're
Victory Monday
at Palm Tree Club on a Sunday with Theo Vaughn and 1,000 models. Like times have
Muscle Beach.
Times have changed, man. We had to really go make some money in the NFL to be able to make it down to South Beach. But we had a talk the other day where he's like talking about certain things, and like, obviously he's really confident in what he's doing and what their team is. But like, enjoy this 24 hours that you're down here and get back and get right back to it. Like, you get to have the fun, you get to have the bank account, you get to have the girls, you get to run Nashville. You get to go out on Saturdays and like live a true dream that we didn't even get to do in the NFL. So, there's a way of like letting these guys enjoy it, but being stern with them still, because these guys in college are living a dream. Wild, bro. They're living a dream. It's crazy to us. We were not doing that at Baylor or at A&M.
Oh no, not to that degree, bro. I mean, maybe not. Some of us, maybe, bro.
Maybe you'll go to Houston on a bye week or something for a weekend.
Dip out, man. No, but that's crazy how the NIL stuff works. I'm like, how do they stay focused? These kids, now, but it's all above board, like on the table now. But they gotta get that money. So, man, do it. But I wonder what the NFL is gonna look like product quality. If like these guys are like crashing out early or basically retired at 19, what's the benefit? What's the fucking reward?
I think the benefit of what I was talking to people about is NIL, as great as it is for a guy like Jeremiah Smith to walk out of Ohio State after 3 years and probably have liquid $8 million in his bank account, $10 million. All right, that's great. He's going to go on and make another 150 over the rest of his career.
He could.
That's amazing.
Right.
NIL affects the guys who are fringe players, the guys who are good college players that are marketable in their local area, but they're probably going to be a 5th, 6th, 7th round pick. Those guys don't really make a roster very much. Their percentage of making a roster is very, very slim. So how much better is it to start your business life and your life after football with 500, 600, 700, 800,000, 900,000 in your bank account, rather than coming out when our boys came out who didn't go to the NFL, who were good players and fit that description. They left with pocket lint and $46.99 going to look for a job in the real world. Now it's even harder to come out of college and get a job.
True.
And to be honest, as all you football players know out there, unless you're a very, very slim percentage of the guys who play college football, newsflash, they don't give a fuck about class. They do not care about their degree. They do not care about really going in to get an education, because it's always everybody's mission to make it to the show. So that's what the NIL stuff that I see is the difference.
Those fringe players, they got it, yeah.
Yeah, you can get to a camp
early.
You can get to a camp.
You can get in there, yeah, no doubt.
But to make the 54, our first year in Cleveland, 2014, I knew guys were going to make the team. This guy's balling in camp, this guy this. All those motherfuckers were gone after the last day of training camp.
Gone.
Every one of them. And I didn't understand it. I'm like, what?
Everybody's gone.
He's balling. We need him as the third down batsman. Nope. Nope. We talked a lot about, moments we spent together, moments you spent on your own. I think moments that were really good for you, moments that weren't so good for you. I think you've done, an amazing job with where you've got your life to, whether or not we're both figuring out and continuously doing that moving forward. right? Life will always continue to be a journey of figuring yourself out, figuring out what you want from this life. And I tell people this all the time. At the end of the day, when your journey on this earth ends and you're in that hospital bed or you're wherever your life may end and you're sitting there and you're going back through the memories of your mind of what you've done in your life, the good, the bad, everything about it. For me, if I reach that point in my life and I look back and have a smile on my face and I'm proud of what I accomplished and what I did and the way I treated people and what my journey was, I'm proud of that. I don't give a fuck what anybody else has to say. I don't care what your opinion on it is. I don't care your comments on it. Nothing. I live this life for myself and my family and my friends and my people. And for me, I will be the judge of, what I did on this earth. Hopefully left it in a better place. Hopefully had an impact on people that made people smile and gave them a good time for the football career I did have, or at the bar. But for me, I'm going to live my life in a way that makes me happy, try to leave this place better. And when it's all said and done, if I'm happy with it, I'm good with that. And that's what it is for me. And we've talked about a lot of this, but I always end every pod. We'll turn this to our last segment presented by Prize Picks, but where every episode kind of ends on Glory Days, and it's if Josh Gordon had one word to define your Glory Days, what's that word for you?
Well, something positive. Let's end on a positive note. Okay. Resilient. Just resilient. Always coming back like 12 o'clock. You know what I mean? Resilient. 12. That's what I'd say. 12. I'm into some different shit now. Metaphysics, numerology, all some weird shit. So I'd say resilience.
I think anybody that's seen your story will, agree with that. I know I will. I've, appreciated the last, 11 years now, a friendship between us, where our life will continue to go. Nevertheless, we keep rocking together, keep getting out on the course, keep living life, and, trying to figure out the things we need to figure out to be the best version of ourselves that we can be. And, looking forward to the many, hopefully many years of life we got left together. So I appreciate you coming on. I appreciate you being open, honest, and, being yourself, a side of you that I've known, but not a lot of people get to. So once again, appreciate everybody. This podcast sponsored by Prize Picks. This is the legend himself, Flash Gordon, and this is Glory Daze.
Wow. I appreciate the fuck out of you, my guy. I don't know you to fucking pull it out.